Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Supernova, your Boom Traders weekly watch list, and let's get it going. In this section, we are going to be looking at the stocks that we are looking to buy. Basically, our idea is that we are looking for an uptrend and a possibility of a break of a trend line, cup and handle basis, be it flat basis, double bottom basis, any type of basis, high tide flags, although I already pre-screened for them and I have absolutely nothing. So, couple of words before I start. Now, this is a chart of TDW, oil and gas equipment and services. You can see right here at the bottom. I made a slight change from my chart since last week, and you can see right here on top you have the relative strength compared to the S&P 500. So the purple line is the relative strength. You don't see S&P 500 shaded anymore. I think this makes it a little bit easier to look at, and if you are interested in relative strength, here it is on the top of the chart. Now, TDW was a perfect example a couple of weeks ago of a perfect buy point where we want to engage, which is right here in the break of this trend line. We want to engage right here and put a very tight stop loss. If it goes through it, fine. There are a couple of ways that you can play this in terms of stop loss, and the most obvious ways to do that are to either place your stop below the breakout candle, which in this case will be this one right here. Place your stop loss below the very last part of the basic formation, which is right here, or you can place it all the way down here through the entire basic structure. And if this breaks, let's see right here is sort of a trend line that's forming. If this breaks right here, this is also the 200-day moving average. You can actually get out right here below it. Now, my preference when I play things like this is place my stop either right here at the bottom of the breakout candle, or if it's too wide, just use 2%, straight up 2%. This allows me to enter with size. Why? Because I prefer to be in a few stocks but with size, rather than spread myself out through 10 or more stocks and have like 5% here, 10% there, and so forth and so forth. It's hard to monitor that many stocks, and it makes it much easier when you have to get out fast, because let's face it, the market has been difficult enough, and there have been cases where you would have to really get out really fast. So these are the type of stock that we're looking at. This is the daily chart. Now, if I switch to the weekly chart, you will see this is what the weekly chart looked like. So we had this cup, we had a break of the cup, a handle right here, perfect three-touch trend line, and a break of the trend line. So this is basically what we're looking for. Now, having said that, I must admit that I'm not really happy with what's turning out on the scanners for this week. So there are 2, 3 maybe at the most stocks that do get me excited, but for the most part it's really dull. So I will start with not just a stock in CVBF, but a category, banks regional. If you do have TC2000, please, you can click right here, open industry watch list, banks regional, and go through all of them one by one, and I'll show you why. Most of them are setting up to break out. So you can see right here we have this beautiful turning point through the 200-day moving average going up. This one already broke out. This one's too low priced. You can add some filters right here. I'm just showing you how to do it really fast. You can see what's going on. This break of this channel, although it's very wide here. This one is already breaking out lower cup. Stel already broke out. This one you can see turning up really beautiful. 50 coming below it. CVBF, we're looking at that. This one already gone, this gone, this I have it in the watch list. You will see PPBI break of this trend. You can play to the upside. So you get the point, right? Just use that banks regional. Let me just go back to stock. Use that bank regional as a category. You will see there are a lot of stocks right now. Now this one, it's a channel. You can see right here. If we start connecting the dots, you will see it's a channel, and I don't really like this type of channels, but nevertheless, this is going up. So up until right here, you have some resistance, but up until right here, you have some space to move. So I wouldn't play this one specifically, but I wanted to bring your attention to this sector because I saw a lot of stocks that are setting up there. Edu, that's Chinese stock, and you can see it's been basing for quite some time. The reason I have it here, I know it's a low price stock, but you can see the gap. So you have from 27, pretty much from 27 to 57. And if we look at the weekly chart, you will see there is this huge void right here, this huge drop on a weekly, and we have this huge void from the volume profile. So this is a really fast zone. This can really go. So this is one of the very few stocks that I think are exciting enough, and you can actually try to play them. So this is one. CEG, that's energy. You can play it. It had a nice breakout right here of this zone. Prior to that, there was another playable breakout right around here. And shook me out the first time, second time I caught it. Right here, there was a breakout. Now it tried to test this line. It could go a little lower, shove right here to the 20-day moving average, the sound line, and the support line right here about 90. Nevertheless, this might just go, so this is a good one to watch. However, note earnings on the 8th of November coming up. DXEM, I had it on the watch right here. It just gapped up on earnings, huge. Now look what it's doing is just some support lines they're holding. So if you are in the mood for such a trade, you can just play it here. Stop loss right below these support lines. So that would be like $3-4 on $114-15 stock. With of course, first initial target, you can see right here from the volume profile, we have something around 120 as first target, and then you would have to basically switch to a larger time frame to see other resistances right here, 131, and then you can also see at 165 or something like this right here, the upside 160. So this is holding this gap from the earnings on the trend lines, a couple of trend lines actually, this to this dot and right here to this pivot, they're all holding. So this can actually play to the upside. So it's not a bad trade if you take it from a risk reward perspective, of course. This HOMB, I have it banks regional again, same category as I said in the very beginning with CVBF and a few others. This can definitely go higher. Now maybe we should edit this trend line a little bit, so be in line with the latest developments in the stock. But generally, what I'm looking for is a break of this trend line and attacking these highs right here, which would come to something like 28. Right now it's 25, so you have about 10% to move right here. Not too bad. TALO, this is oil and gas, one of the few oil and gas stocks that have not run rampant wild, so you can still be able to catch it right here. Of course, that's also a bad thing, because if everything else has run up, that maybe this is a laggard. So be careful with this, and generally with energy you have to be careful, because especially when it comes to natural gas, and in the futures, there's a saying that natural gas is like the widowmaker, so be really careful. I mean, it goes up and down like 10% in a day, and this really can be frustrating for people. As far as Orly comes, I really liked it right here. We learned that in our Discord server. This was a beautiful breakout right here for Orly. Now it stopped at the trend line. You can see I'll switch to the weekly chart. Why it stopped? Obviously, you have some resistance on top, so it's normal spot to stop. But let's go back to the daily chart and I'll show you this double bottom right here is holding perfectly. So you can definitely play with a stop right below this trend line on 801 and look to potentially test this at 845 again. It's going to be a relatively low risk trade. If it can test it again, maybe it can break it, or of course there's a chance that it fills the gap, but nevertheless it's a good looking stock. It's very strong. GILD, I like it, but see there's like this flag. It's trying to break out of flag, but it's stopping at resistance. I'll zoom out really. You have to go to 2018 back to see where it stopped. Last time it was violent. Couple of tests right here you can see, and it just broke. Now it based and it's going back up again. So be careful right here. I like it, but be careful about it. VRTX. I have it here as well. It's a very strong stock, but what I wanted to note here, look at the volatility that's showing up around those pivot points. Right now we have a trend line that's going up. I don't really like those, especially for stocks that I'm trading to the upside. Nevertheless, this is holding the pivot point. It's playing around it. So this is some sort of support right now. Let's see how it develops, but keep that on focus. DK, same thing. Oil and gas, one of the few stocks that have not really broken out yet, but it's very close to the highs right here. You can see. And you have about almost 20% to the upside if you play right here with stop below this 3056 support zone. Crocs, I have it because if you look at the weekly, let's just go back to the weekly. If you look at the weekly chart, there's like a huge week right here, probably on earnings. I'm not really familiar with Crocs fundamentals, but you can see this is sort of a going upwards, right? I don't really like those, but this is a huge outside reversal week for Crocs, and right here you see we don't have a lot of you don't have a lot of support and resistance in terms of the volume profile. One is about 100, which is also century mark, so that's normal to have there as some resistance. But right now you are trading at 85, so that's it's almost 20%. It's not that much, but it's almost 20%. And next obvious resistance is coming right here, which is 125. So there is a possibility to trade it. The only problem is this is a little wide if you're looking, of course, at the weekly. But if you're looking at the daily, you can definitely play it with, I'd say, no more than 4 to 5% risk, which is not too bad. Now you also have to fix a little bit of those trend lines. And let's see if this high is broken. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, this high is broken. So maybe what you can actually do is if it breaks this high right here, you can just go long with stop loss below this 83.64 area to be on the safe side with a very tight stop loss. This one I have it here again, banks regional. Not gonna even talk about it that much, but if you look at the weekly chart, let me just scroll there. If you look at the weekly chart, it is a beautiful cut forming here. I really like the fact that it's downward sloped, especially for breakouts. This works good. And we already broken this trend line. So if you see on the daily, let's go back to the daily. If you can see on the daily, we broke it right here once, so probably stopped out. We broke it twice. We almost came down to test it, and now we're moving higher. So really good trend showing. And again, same category. Rhythm, I had it last week. I still have it here. It's good power play. You can try to play this bottom channel right here, double bottom. You can see right here. You have, okay, not right there, but right here. Held perfectly. If we go down here again, you can probably try for a long up to about 25.5, 26 for this channel. If it breaks this channel, obviously 31 is next resistance. Nasdaq. That's a change. I have it here, which is a really good pattern showing. Unlike most of technology stocks. Nasdaq as a financial institution, financial data and stock exchange is doing really well, and I really like this pattern. So Edu was the first one, Nasdaq is the second one that really gets me excited. Let's continue with CPRX. This is biotech. It's a very strong pattern. It's forming, it's starting to curve right here, so you might be looking for a trade right now. And if it starts to break out highs of this base, you might want to add to this. So this one is a good one. PPBI, I told you I have it, Banks Regional, same thing. Nice cup, trying to get out. ALSN, this is very, very white, but still almost flattish right here. TT, yep, looks good. That's a new issue. Let me just zoom out to the weekly chart. That's a new issue, so we can see haven't had that much time to digest price formation and so forth, but it still looks really good on the daily chart. Now let's go back to Hess. Perfect breakout was right here, 131, 132. Played it. Right now it's forming a little basing structure over the base, so this might just run up. It's already past earnings. Earnings were good, so you might want to nibble a few. NWBI still has a little place to go. Right here, 1548, but it's looking gorgeous. A very, very, very nice base. Again, Banks Regional. GPC Specialty Retail. You can see it broke out right here, which was my buy point. I got stopped out on this drop right here. Then it formed another one, but it was too late for me to catch it. And you can see right now it's forming another pivot point right here on top. So 180 is the place that I would look to add to this. It's just a really, really strong issue right now. SLB, I mentioned in chat, it is strong, but if you look at a little bit back in time, you can see that there's like this resistance running on top. So not a lot of risk to reward right now. Running at 53.20. This one comes at about 55, so just shy of $2 in order to go to resistance line. So be careful with this one if you're trading it. FHI, I like it. Very, very, very long base. Asset management, that's not going to be really exciting, but you can see this base been going for quite some time right now. STLD, this is forming like a nice channel to the downside. I really like it. However, just note right here you have double top resistance and also a century mark, so be careful with this trade if you're running it. My reverse right here again, CTKB, I still have that one. Medical devices hasn't done anything bad. It's still making higher lows right now. You can see still making higher lows, so everything is fine right there. SPTN run up, now it's forming a little bit of a channel right here, so if it can probably clear these highs right here, which also I think will be a double top. If it can clear those highs, it can also go higher. XIN just hanging in there. This triangle over the base, tested the lows of the base. Obviously this is support right now. You can see it's rejecting to the upside, so want to look at it. DTC, it's a very strong stock. Again, forming this downward sloping channel, so you might want to try a few. CC, that's just insanely strong. Perfect spot to buy. I was right around here trying to break out of the base right now. That is a little bit of a warning sign. You can see the volume profile showing there's some volume trading right here. If we can digest this selling right here, this can definitely go. STNG, maybe, no. Yep, internet's been sluggish a little bit. It broke out of the base, tested the base. Now it's forming what I don't really like to see, upward channel, rising channel, or whatever you want to call it. Not the best pattern. You can see right here. Usually those resolve to the downside, so be careful there. DKS, the exporting goods, like the base, making higher lows. Right here you can see definitely there is some support coming from below, making those wicks on the downside. Well, that's something to keep an eye on it. 22nd of November, we have earnings. FIBK, I don't think that will be surprising anybody. Say this is banks regional. Just be careful. Here's your resistance. You can see clearly 1, 2, 3, 4 spots right there. VRT. That's a good base. The reason I have it here is the gap, and you can see we are hanging right around the highs right here. So from 1520 or so, let's just see what that one is. 1574. So from 1574. You can have 1950, so that's about 25-30% right there. It's a gap, so it's a void. It needs to be filled. Or independent power producers, very strong stock. You can see it's breaking out of this base. Already, it's a little bit deep. This base for my liking. You can see the right side is very strong. Now it will be perfect if it can consolidate, work up this right side a little bit. But as it has happened very often lately, these stocks just run up. They don't stop for the right side. So this might be one of those. SGML is a favorite of mine. It just gave you an opportunity to buy a stop right here at 21 moving average. It's a reversal pattern. You can see right here, gapping right over this downside bar right here, support. So I think that buying right here might be a good idea. ARLP, I had it. Coal related. Coal seems to be running now, trying to run at least. So pay attention to this one. You can see right here this resistance, prior resistance now became support. So my run up. PI gapped up really high above my buy point right here, so I couldn't get it. But right now you can see it is holding this trend line as support. So if it breaks of this little formation, I will be a buy right around here, 116 with stop around 110, 111. So $5, $116 stock. Now wire, I have it here because if you look at the weekly chart, you'll see it's just a gorgeous base. Just a little wide, really hard to buy, but keep it there on your watch list. It might give us a way to buy it. TMP, this is another one that really gets me excited. So Nasdaq, Edu, TNP, and SGML so far are the ones that I really like. STNE, this one I have just because if you look at the weekly, it is looking like it's bottoming out. I don't really like bottoming out stocks, but sometimes these can provide extreme opportunities for returns based on the risk that you're taking. I'm just mentioning it here. It's still looking at the bottom, so it's bottom fishing for sure. And you'll be better off trying to buy stocks that are in confirmed stage 2 uptrends, but this one just might go there. Unlike REL, which is strong as as it can be, it's just going up, going up, going up. A little extended for my liking, but I just wanted to mention it here. It might just run up. And the last one that I have here is PFIX, Simplified Interest Rate Hedge. It's an ETF, but it's just looking gorgeous. It's just looking gorgeous. So you might want to nibble a few. If you look at the weekly chart, it doesn't come any stronger than that. So let's just recap really quick. We have Edu is one of my favorite just because of the gap right here. You can see it's a lot of potential. We also have DXCM. I told you I like how it's holding these support lines right here. We have Nasdaq, which is one of my favorite patterns right now forming and definitely can run up. We have SGML, of course. I've held this stock for some time now, and I'm looking for opportunities to wire. I was looking at the wire right here to add. And PI, I said that I'll be adding to it 116 and TNP. So these are my favorites. I'll just flag them: TNP, wire, SGML. Let's go up. We have Nasdaq, we have DXM, and we have Edu. So If we sort them out by flags, you will see Edu, DXM, and NASDAQ, SGML, PI, TMP. So that's for the upside. Next portion of the watch list will deal with short selling and the downside. So see you in a few. Bye bye.